Welcome back to the Wisdom Hub. Let's start with this. Your silence is your power, and your reaction is their victory. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. Will you continue playing their game, or will you step up and take control of your own destiny? Think about this. Every time you begged, every time you chased, what happened? Did they come closer? They pulled away, leaving you shattered. And yet, here you are, still questioning why. So today, we're going to unravel this. We're going to explore why silence isn't just the answer, it's the ultimate solution. But before we dive in, do me a quick favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's take this journey together. Now let me paint a picture for you. Imagine standing in the pouring rain, trying to shield a fragile flame with your bare hands. The more you try, the more it flickers and threatens to go out. That's what begging, chasing, and pleading look like in relationships. A frantic, futile effort to save something that's slipping away. And deep down, you know this, don't you? But let's be real. When you beg someone to stay, to choose you, what you're really saying is, you are more important than me. Your validation defines my worth. Here's the brutal truth. No one wants to choose someone who doesn't choose themselves. No one values what's handed over so easily. So why would they? Why would they fight for someone who has already declared themselves unworthy? Every time you react, when they ghost you, ignore you, or pull away, you hand them the keys to your emotions. They say jump, and you ask, how high? They stop responding and you start spiraling. Every desperate text, every cryptic post, it all screams one thing. You value them more than yourself. And here's the thing. No one respects, chooses, or falls in love with someone who doesn't respect themselves. So what now? Does this mean it's over? What if, instead of giving them your energy, you redirected it to someone far more deserving? Yourself? What if, instead of reacting to their rejection, you made a decision of your own? A decision to say, enough. Picture this. The next time they ignore you, you don't text, you don't call, you don't post anything about them. Instead, you go silent. No explanations, no breadcrumbs, just silence. What happens next? Do they get confused? Maybe. Do they move on? Possibly. But here's the harsh truth. If your silence is driven by the hope that they'll come back, you're still giving them power. Silence isn't about them. It's about you. It's about reclaiming the energy you've wasted on someone who hasn't earned it. It's about focusing on your growth, your peace, your happiness. As you do this, you'll realize something profound. The person you were chasing isn't as important as you once thought. Their approval isn't the prize. You are. Don't get it twisted. This isn't about waiting in the shadows for them to notice your worth. It's about understanding that their opinion never defined your worth in the first place. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Their behavior is out of your control, but your response isn't. And when your response is silence, you show them and yourself that you are stronger than their games. Here's your challenge. The next time they ignore you, resist the urge to react. Don't text them. Don't post about them. Instead, focus on yourself. Use that energy to grow, to thrive, to build yourself up. Let your silence reflect your confidence, your dignity, your power. And when they finally notice, when they wonder why you stopped chasing, you'll realize the true power of silence. It's not about confusing them, it's about freeing yourself. So, what will you choose? Reacting to their behavior or reclaiming your power? If this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Just type *silence period, because the choice is yours. And it starts with self-respect. It starts with choosing yourself. It starts with silence. You're not going to beg. You're going to stand tall. And when they see you standing strong, when they expected you to crumble, they'll finally understand. You never needed them. They needed you. Are you ready to rise? This was just the beginning. Your transformation has so much more ahead. Number 1, don't block them, outshine them. Picture this. They're in the spotlight, performing, while you're in the shadows, clapping, just hoping they'll notice you. But let me ask you, why are you even in the audience? Why are you cheering for someone who walked out on your life? You're not meant to be a spectator. You're the star. So why are you dimming your light for someone who didn't even buy a ticket to your story? This stops now. Epictetus once asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" This isn't about waiting for them to see your worth. It's about realizing their validation was never the source of your value. Blocking them on social media or avoiding their posts isn't strength. True strength is shining so brightly that their shadow fades into nothing. You're not here to hide, you're here to rise. But what about when you see them thriving on social media, smiling and posting like they've moved on? Use that as fuel. Let their apparent joy remind you of the work you need to do on yourself. The truth? That smile you see is likely a mask. Their highlight reel isn't real life. And even if it is, so what? Your worth isn't measured by their posts or their stories. It's defined by the life you build for yourself while they're busy curating fake moments to keep you looking back. Every time you feel that sting seeing their post, stop and ask yourself, why am I giving them power over me? Don't break into pieces because they're trying to project perfection. Their facade isn't your reality. It's time to focus on your transformation, not their timeline. Wondering how to shine? You don't chase it, you create it. Shine comes from the fire within you, from becoming a version of yourself so strong that no one can touch you. The glow you seek isn't about others noticing. It's about feeling it for yourself. Take all the energy you've been wasting on them and turn it inward. They walked away. Good. Redesign your life. Make it your masterpiece. Blocking them is just a band-aid. Instead, blind them with your growth, your strength, and your silence. Silence isn't emptiness, it's unshakable confidence. Build a life so vibrant, so uncontainable, that they fade into irrelevance. And here's the best part. When you truly shine, you won't need to show it off or hope they notice. You'll just be. Your glow will come from authenticity, not desperation. You won't be someone they lost. You'll be someone they can never get back. Write this down and remember it. I shine on my terms. Live it. Your light is your power. Make it blinding. Number 2, redesign the room. They left empty. Let's be honest, when someone leaves, they don't just walk out, they leave a hole. It feels like standing in an empty room, surrounded by echoes of what used to be. That emptiness can feel crushing. But here's the question. Why are you just standing there staring at it? You're not a caretaker for their leftovers. You're the designer of your life. That empty room isn't a grave for what's gone. It's a blank canvas for what's next. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. Their exit isn't the end of your story, it's the start of your masterpiece. Imagine a room full of broken furniture and shattered glass. You wouldn't just sit in the mess forever, right? You'd clear it out and start fresh. Life works the same way. The wreckage they left behind isn't who you are. It's an opportunity to rebuild. Start by clearing the clutter, not just their photos or belongings, but the emotional baggage too. Anger, sadness, and resentment are like broken pieces that will trip you up if you don't clear them out. Write them down, cry it out, or scream if you need to. But don't let them sit there, gathering dust in your heart. Once you've cleared the space, begin rebuilding. And remember, You're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. Fill your life with what lights you up, things you've always wanted to pursue but never made time for. Treat your life like a space you're redecorating, with each piece reflecting your true self. If you feel lost, start small. Take one step. Read a book, join a class, or just take a walk. Action, no matter how small, breaks stagnation. And when you finally look around, you'll see something beautiful. That room they left empty is now filled with everything they couldn't see in you. It's not about their validation, it's about your own joy and purpose. Take your time. Redesigning isn't about rushing, it's about creating something meaningful. Write this down. I redesign my life for me. Say it, own it, build boldly. Number 3, rewrite the ending. Imagine your life is a book, but someone else has been holding the pen, writing your story, deciding your role. Why are you letting them? This is your book. Rip out the pages they wrote and start fresh. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. What's happened so far might not have been your choice, but how you respond is entirely up to you. Their rejection isn't the final chapter. It's just a comma, a pause before your transformation begins. You're not a victim in their story. You're the hero of your own. Like any hero, you've faced loss and betrayal. But these moments don't define your story. They fuel your rise. Start by accepting reality. They left, they didn't see your worth. Fine, but don't stay stuck there. Your reaction is your power. Visualize the ending you want and take steps toward it. Every small move you make adds to your new chapter. Remember, their rejection wasn't about you. It was about them. You can't change what happened, but you can change what happens next. Take the pen back. Create a story so extraordinary that their absence becomes a footnote. Write this. I write my own story. Believe it, live it. The pen is in your hands now. Don't just finish the story. Create an ending they'll never forget. Number 4, don't look back. Oh, the mistake we've all made. Looking back. And no, this isn't just about glancing at them. It's deeper than that. It's about clinging to that fragile, desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, if you begged one more time, things would change. If you sent the perfect message, they'd suddenly realize your value. But here's the harsh truth. What has begging ever achieved for you? Has it ever brought them closer? Number. It's only pulled you further into despair, stripped you of dignity, and left you empty, holding on to scraps they didn't even care to give. Yet here you are, still hoping it'll work this time. It won't. Every time you look back, you chain yourself to the past. Every time you entertain the thought of chasing them, you're telling the universe, I haven't learned my lesson. Hurt me again. And it will. Because as long as you're looking back, you're giving them space in your mind, letting them control your emotions, self-worth and future. Is that what you want? As Seneca said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. But you're not letting the end be the end, are you? You're replaying the same tired script, hoping for a different outcome. Newsflash. Staring at the ending doesn't rewrite it. The only way to move forward is to stop looking back, not just by blocking them or avoiding their social media, but by letting go of the belief that they were the key to your happiness. They weren't. Every time you look back, you hold on to the version of yourself that begged for their validation, cried for their attention, and wondered what you did wrong. But that's not who you are anymore. So why cling to that past self like a lifeline? You can't rise while dragging the weight of who you used to be. Cut the rope. And that tiny voice whispering, maybe if I try one more time, they'll change. That voice isn't your friend. It's your insecurity, your fear of letting go. The truth is, Someone who truly values you doesn't need more chances to see your worth. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." If today were your last day, would you want to spend it looking back at someone who treated you like an option? Or would you hold your head high and start living the life you deserve? The past is a prison, and looking back is the lock. But you hold the key. The moment you stop glancing over your shoulder, you free yourself to grow, move forward, and become who you're meant to be. That person isn't standing in the shadow of someone who didn't value them. So, are you ready to stop looking back? Write this in the comments. I never look back. Say it, own it, live it. The only way to win is to leave the game behind entirely. Number 5. Turn the spotlight. Stop dwelling on what could have been, what you could have done, or how you could have made them stay. It's time to turn the spotlight back on yourself. For too long, you've shined it on them, on their actions, their happiness, their choices, their indifference. But why are they the star of your story? Why give them center stage in your mind when they left you in the dark? Imagine a stage. You've been waiting in the wings while they've stood in the spotlight of your attention. But the truth is, the spotlight isn't fixed. You control where it shines. Stop wasting it on someone who's no longer part of your story. Turn it inward. As Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Now is your moment to stop focusing on them and start focusing on you. That light you've been using to illuminate their life, use it to see your own strength, potential, and ability to thrive. You were never dim because of them. You've always had your own light. You just forgot how brightly you can shine when you're not dimming yourself for someone else. When you turn the spotlight inward, you stop needing their validation because you're finally giving yourself the attention you deserve. You're not waiting for someone else to notice you. You've started noticing yourself. You see your flaws, your scars, your strengths, and you realize you don't need anyone else to complete you. You are already whole. Here's the truth. They only seemed important because you made them the focus. But the moment you turn the spotlight on yourself, they fade into the background. Your world shifts, and you become its center. As Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your purpose isn't proving your worth to them. It's building a life so meaningful, their absence becomes irrelevant. Write this in the comments. I am my own light. Believe it. Live it. The spotlight is yours now. Step into it. Number 6. Become the ghost they'll never forget. Now we reach the part where they finally notice. When your silence and your transformation become undeniable, you'll evolve into something they can't escape, the ghost they'll never forget. But don't mistake this for bitterness or petty revenge. This isn't about haunting them with malice. It's about leaving an unforgettable imprint through your absence and growth. Think of a candle extinguished in a dark room. The flame is gone, but its warmth lingers, its light burned into memory. That's what you become. They didn't value your presence, but your absence will echo louder than anything you could have said or done. No more chasing, no more explaining. You simply disappear in a way that leaves them questioning everything. They'll scroll through their phone, waiting for a message that never comes. They'll search for traces of you on social media, expecting drama or desperation. But all they'll find is someone they don't recognize, stronger, thriving, untouchable. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." You're done wasting time trying to make them see your worth. Now, every moment of your silence speaks volumes. Every ounce of energy you once poured into them is now fueling your own growth. When they do notice, it won't just be the quiet that haunts them. it'll be the transformation they see. The version of you they left behind no longer exists. You've become the person they doubted you could be, whole, radiant, and confident. They'll remember the times they ignored you and realize too late that those were the moments they should have held on tighter. This isn't about revenge. It's not about waiting for their regret. Their realization of your worth isn't your victory. Your growth is. The secret to becoming the ghost they'll never forget isn't about them at all. It's about thriving for yourself, living a life so full and extraordinary that their regret becomes meaningless. Write this in the comments. I thrive in my silence. Let it remind you that your power doesn't come from their regret, but from the strength they failed to see. Number 7, let them chase shadows. And now, the ultimate conclusion, let them chase shadows. You've become untouchable. You no longer look back, beg, or explain. The person they once knew is gone. You've risen stronger, brighter, and completely untamed. And as you step fully into your power, they'll begin to chase something they can never catch, the shadow of who you used to be. When they finally notice your absence, it won't just be you they miss. They'll miss the version of you who was always available, always giving, always there. But that version no longer exists. The love you gave, the energy you spent, it's gone, now poured entirely into yourself. As Epictetus said, if someone is able to provoke you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. You've removed yourself from their reach. You're no longer reacting to their actions or waiting for their attention. Their attempts to pull you back will feel like trying to catch smoke. Intangible, unreachable, gone. The irony is, the more they chase, the more they'll realize they've lost something irreplaceable. But by the time they figure that out, it won't matter to you. You've moved forward while they're left running in circles, haunted by the memory of what they didn't value. Let their regret be their lesson, not your concern. This isn't about vengeance or manipulation. It's about liberation. You've outgrown them, and they're left chasing what they once took for granted. Write this in the comments. I leave shadows behind. Let it be your mantra. You've transcended their world, and they're left grasping at shadows of a past they'll never touch again. And there you have it. The path from silence to strength, from being ignored to becoming unforgettable. This isn't just about letting go of them. It's about stepping into the most powerful version of yourself. You've learned to redesign the empty spaces they left behind, rewrite the ending they tried to control, and reclaim the spotlight as your own. You're not looking back. You're not waiting. You're thriving, growing, and leaving shadows behind. The choice is yours. Will you keep chasing what's lost, or will you step fully into your power? Remember this: your silence, your transformation, and your light speak louder than anything else. It was never about making them notice. It was about realizing you never needed them to see your worth. You see it now. Write this in the comments. I step into my power. Say it, own it, live it,